Hi there, it's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch here yet again. And I guess today what I'm talking about is the process of learning and the process of growth. Because occultism and the physical natural sciences have something in common. They're all about growth, change, gaining more knowledge as time goes by. There is, however, a dramatic difference between the growth of knowledge of someone studying a natural science as opposed to the growth of the knowledge of someone studying a supernatural science, or at least I feel that there should be. You can go to school, you can then take some subjects you've learned at school, move on, go to university, get a degree, get your master's, get a PhD, predominantly through learning other theories. I mean, I'm saying predominantly, not exclusively, of course, but predominantly through learning other theories and other models of the world to a certain degree and to a certain ability. And that gives you the ability to be able to discourse, understand, and look at models of the world. And only once you've reached a certain level of initiation within the natural sciences are you then allowed to experiment, explore, and so on and so forth. Some people say that the process of going to and going through university teaches a person how to think. However, that doesn't explain why there are people who can leave university and can end up with their PhD, with their doctorate, and still be a creationist. So I would therefore say that the academic methodology doesn't always teach you how to think. It does predominantly teach you what to think and give you some structures of reasoning which cannot necessarily be applied to all the full spectrum of humanity. Now, if we're taking an occultist, for example, a spiritualist, a New Ager, whether you're a pagan, whether you're a magician, or whatever, you can follow the lines of reasoning or the lines of understanding of other people, and you can incorporate that into your workings. You can incorporate the models of the world, the models of the astral world, the various different planes of existence as is apparently channeled via mediums and clairvoyance. And you can see that as being real. We can say, we know this. But if you were to do that, you would be reacting in the same way as a person of religion, not necessarily that of an occultist. Now, I know that in many religions, in most religions, there are some activities which are occult. But occultism and magic, I personally believe, is actually separate from religion, because otherwise you would be doing a religious practice with some occult dimensions to it, rather than actually just, I suppose, being a pure occultist. From my point of view and an observation of my own growth within occultism and spiritualism, of sorts, that's just a rough title for what I am. I don't really think that what I am can be defined that easily. When I'm looking at my growth and development, yes, I have used other ideas, other methods, other names, structures, and symbols from other cultures, other faiths. But I have not done that to be a devotee of those faiths. I've reached a point whereby I understand that being a person of any religion doesn't necessarily help you in any way whatsoever. So the growth of the occultist is in fact the growth of the human individual going through various different levels of reasoning and understanding, predominantly about theological things. It can't just be based upon understanding a particular school of thought and then reaching a certain level of initiation whereby you are then allowed to think. It has to be much more to do with the continued intellectual and creative growth. I would say that prior to becoming an occultist, you do actually need to be able to know how to think rather than what to think, Otherwise, you will become a religionist. And I feel that's moving down the path of delusion, because you're merely accepting some things to be true rather than exploring and experimenting with the universe, which is what I try and do. I would say that the natural science world has provided me with more inspiration to be able to be a more efficient occultist than the religious schools of thought. However, religious disciplines have within them certain techniques such as meditation, prayer, and ritual, as well as all the other more esoteric stuff such as visualization, absorbing the concepts such as the soul having the ability to exist outside of the physical, and that the consciousness can seem to shift, for want of a better word, to places in the future or in the past, and using those to see what results I can get, and then gradually to try and develop a certain level of controllability. But unless I've developed some good quality, good old-fashioned reasoning skills, which if I remember rightly, is left brain reasoning skills, I will be more likely to end up with beliefs rather than trying to find out what is true. Remember, of course, that the definition of science, or a definition of science, is the search for the truth. I prefer to say that the word science is a noun that stands for the methodologies of investigation into nature in order to try and find out what is most likely to be true under specific circumstances, and is therefore not a statement of fact, but an exploration of the apparently natural and or supernatural world. Good fortune, God bless.